Hello, and thanks for joining us.
On the programme this evening.
The ordeal goes on for the mum of murdered toddler James Bulger. For the second time, Denise Fergus will see killer John Venables plead with the parole board for his freedom.
I'm just hoping and praying that they do take into consideration everything that he's done, murdering James and whatever he's done after that. And I'm hoping that they realise that he is still a high risk to other kids.
The debate in Parliament about banning under-16s from social media. 16 of our region's Labour MPs say we should. We'll be hearing live from some young people who could be affected.
So please don't rein me in.
How Sam Fender and just about every music megastar will be making for Manchester's Co-op Live next month for the first ever Brit Awards outside London.
How the future of our region's rarest squirrels can't be taken as read. We look at a new campaign to save the species.
Well, we start tonight with the ongoing torment of a mother whose 2-year-old son was murdered by 2 primary school children.
Yeah, back in 1993, the murder of James Bulger on Merseyside made headlines around the world, and the subsequent release of his 2 killers when they turned 18 angered many.
Well, now James's mother, Denise, is facing a fresh ordeal as one of her son's killers, John Venables, again bids to be released from prison from where he was returned for breaching his licence.
Well, she says his case should never be considered, as our Merseyside correspondent Andy Bonner reports.
The murder of 2-year-old James Bulger shocked the nation. The toddler was kidnapped from a shopping centre and tortured by 2 10-year-old boys in 1993. John Venables and Robert Thompson were released on licence with new identities after serving 8 years in secure youth accommodation.
I said years ago when James was first taken from me that because they weren't properly punished for the crime that they committed, they're going to go on to re-offend. Now, we definitely know one as, not just once, but twice. He's been caught with drugs, so I don't know why he wasn't taken into prison for that. He was entering Merseyside, he's going to Everton games, which is not far from where I live. He's just broke all rules.
In fact, it was when indecent images of children were found on his computer that Venables was twice recalled to prison. Now, James's mother is preparing for another parole hearing where his anonymity will be protected.
It's annoying. It's really annoying. You know, he's probably known everything about me. He probably knows everything about my family. We get to know nothing about him, nothing at all. Everything is kept quiet on him. But, you know, I'm having to fight justice for James. I'm having to do that because of what he's done.
Speaking to Good Morning Britain, Denise said parole hearings are mentally draining, but it's something she needs to be a part of.
I've been living a life of a nightmare, but, you know, at the end of the day, when there's no fight there, I go back to being a mum and a wife, which is what I love doing. You know, that's the job that I prefer to do. But, you know, when something like this comes off, I've got to, like, stand up and, you know, start fighting again.
Denise Fergus wants the law to change, saying breaches of parole should mean no more chances. The government told us the Lord Chancellor now has the power to refer certain release decisions for the most serious offenders to the High Court for a second check.
I'm just hoping and praying that they do take into consideration everything that he's done, murdering James and whatever he's done after that. And I'm hoping that they realise that he is still a high risk to other kids. And I hope he never sees the light of day again, because I know if he gets out, and I've said this time and time again, if he gets out, we will end up with another case like James.
Andy Bonner, ITV News.
And we will, of course, keep you up to date with any developments in that story.
Well, next tonight, and this is one for all parents of teenagers to keep an eye on. There's a debate taking place in Parliament tonight about whether people under the age of 16 should be banned from using social media. Yeah,
the House of Lords will consider whether the measures should be added to a new law meant to improve children's well-being.
Well, the government now says it's open to the idea amid mounting pressure from the opposition and their own MPs, 16 of them from here in the North West. Here's our political correspondent, Leisha McNally.
Pocket-sized but powerful, the grip that smartphones have on our young people is a trending topic. And with Australia now banning under-16s from social media completely, could measures down under soon be heading over here?
Social media platforms weren't designed with children in mind. They're very much adult environments. They're addictive by design. We didn't know this when they first came out, and I think what we're seeing now is the effect of that.
I'm here in Brianna's room where she spent most of her time online.
It's an effect this mother knows all too well. Her daughter Brianna was murdered by 2 teenagers in Warrington. Esther says her smartphone addiction made her vulnerable.
I'm not alone in my experience, and parents are calling for real support.
And from parents to politicians, 16 North West Labour MPs signalled they would back a ban.
Governments are there to do things and to respond to the challenges of the time. So I would just encourage government to really be bold, really think carefully about this and to act really for the sake of our young people.
We will bring forward a swift 3-month consultation on further measures to keep children safe online.
The government says that nothing is off the table, including an age restriction, a call that's being taken up by the House of Lords tonight.
Well, Leisha joins us from Westminster now. Leisha, you mentioned the House of Lords. Tell us about the debate on social media that's happening there.
Well, this proposed age limit is an amendment to an existing government bill, and the House of Lords will have a chance to vote for it just through there within the next hour or so. Now, we heard a supportive Labour MP in my piece there. This vote was actually brought by a Conservative peer, so it just shows this is an issue that really crosses party lines. But the politics are still a little tricky. Up until now, the Prime Minister has always said that he's personally opposed to a blanket ban. The dial could be shifting, though. Today, he said he was seriously concerned about social media, especially as a father of 2 teenagers. Now, if the Lords pass this amendment tonight, it will apply some more pressure on the government to take a firmer stance on this issue either way, and not everybody thinks it's a good idea. There are some who say it deprives teenagers of a vital education and information tool, particularly perhaps for those who might need to reach out to online communities for issues like their sexuality. And others say, well, how would you even enforce this in the first place? Now, a public consultation is underway. People are being asked to give their views for the next 3 months, and of course those with the greatest say are likely to be the people directly impacted. So let's cross now to Mel Barham, who's live at Salford Youth Zone.
Thanks, Leisha. Yeah, well, I'm joined by a group of teenagers who are the very people who will have to give up their social media if this ban is brought in. Tilly May, let's start with you. You're 13. What do you make of this idea?
I think I can see both sides of the argument, because from an adult's point of view, social media can be really dangerous and can have lots of risks to it. However, from a teenager's perspective, you kind of rely on social media, and so you use it as a way of communication, socialising, and kind of a support system in a way.
Yeah, and Ellen, you're 14. How much do you use social media at the moment?
Like on average around an hour or 2 a day, but I think sometimes you can get lost in it and not realise how long you're spending on it.
And we know that they have done this in Australia, and we know from some research that some children are actually getting around that age restriction. Do you think that's something that you might do if this was brought in?
Probably not, because if the government bring it in thinking it's in our best interest, it's probably better to try and adapt to and learn how to live without it than try and get around it.
Okay, thank you. Well, Tom, let's talk to you. How would you say this would affect you if this was brought in?
It would affect my life massively, because I just keep scrolling. 1 hour becomes into 2, 2 becomes into 3. And I think it would affect young people's lives, because that's all they do, and they don't really get out and do stuff like that.
And you said to me you'd actually feel bored if you didn't have the social media.
Yeah, I think it would be hard to do something around, even if it's just going for a ride on my bike. I think it would affect young people massively, and especially not scrolling on your phone could just help just struggle.
Yeah. And Christopher, you're actually 16, so this is something that wouldn't actually affect you, but you've got some strong opinions about this, haven't you?
I think a lot of 16-year-olds my age actually wish we didn't have social media when we were younger. We've got shortened attention spans, we struggle to focus in school, and I think that we should allow young people to thrive without the pressures of social media.
Okay, that's really interesting. Thank you so much, all of you, for talking to us. Well, they have a really strict mobile phone policy here at this youth club. Let's talk to Joe, who's a youth worker here. Joe, Why do you have that policy here?
And we have it for our juniors, which is 8 to 12, and we just really want young people to have fun while they're in the youth zone, engage with their peers and socialise. Lots of research tells us young people have too much screen time, so for our juniors we definitely want to engage with each other and just have fun while they're here.
And quickly, do you think this is a good idea, have this banned?
Personally, I don't. I think we should be about educating young people to make informed choices. I don't think we have enough to say that we should have an enforcement ban right across.
Okay, thank you very much for talking to us today. Well, before we go, let's have a quick show of hands from you guys. If you had to vote on this today, how many of you would vote to actually ban social media for under 16s? All of you. Very interesting. Well, the debate will rumble on.
OK, Mel in Salford tonight, thank you so much.
OK, let's take a look at some more of the day's news now. And a court's been told an elderly couple killed in an arson attack on their home in St Helens last July were not the intended victims. 77-year-old Eric Greener and 83-year-old Sheila Jackson died in the fire. Kevin Wheatman, Lee Owens and Kylie Maynard deny murder at Liverpool Crown Court. Lee Owens has admitted manslaughter. Jurors were told another man was involved in starting the fire but died shortly after.
Greater Manchester Police say they could pursue a civil case against a man accused of filming women without their consent after being forced to discontinue criminal proceedings against him. The man was arrested in 2024 after filming women on nights out in Manchester city centre. GMP says limitations within current laws meant they couldn't charge him. The force say they still want women to report such incidents to them.
Lancashire County Council, which is under the control of Reform UK, says it's not going to shut a number of care homes and other facilities. There had been reports that the authority was considering a range of closures. The ruling Reform Group says it will be investing in its care homes and in a statement acknowledged the uncertainty and distress caused by what it called speculation and misinformation.
A man who was wanted on recall to prison has been arrested in Blackburn after being pursued on horseback. PC Loader and police horse Rufford were on patrol when they spotted Ben Cottam. The 41-year-old initially tried to run away, but soon realised that he couldn't outrun a horse. He was arrested and later remanded to HMP Preston.
So at what point did he realise that he couldn't outrun the horse, do you think?
Very fast, probably immediately.
Now, next month will be another great day for the music scene in Manchester. So Brit Awards comes to the city and after being held in London since 1977.
Yeah, the awards will be held at the end of February at the Co-op Live Arena. And in the last hour, all the nominated acts have just been announced.
Our correspondent Rob Smith's there for us now. What can you tell us, Rob?
I can tell you, this is the closest I am ever going to get to having one of these. Look at this gorgeous thing. This is this year's Brit Award, Mancunian designed, Mancunian inspired. It's meant to represent honey from the city's symbol, the bee. It is fantastic. And in just 5.5 weeks from now, inside this vast arena, there will be an array of musicians champing at the bit to get their hands on one of these. We now know who those are going to be. Swish Old nominations event here at Co-op Live just a short while ago unveiled a stellar list of talent, really something, and on it some Northwest names too. Liverpool rapper SD Kid and Manchester artist Crystal nominated for Best Breakthrough Artist and Song of the Year respectively, and nominated alongside an array of amazing names from across this country and across the world. Chapel Rowan, Sam Fender, Olivia Dean, to name just three. I can tell you too that the organisers of the Brits are pretty pleased with that list, pretty pleased with the place they're going to call their hometown for the next couple of years.
We have been going since 1977. This is the first time the award ceremony has been outside of London, and it is such a massive deal. You know, the Brit Awards is the biggest night in British music. We want to make it the biggest night globally in music. So this is just the beginning, and we're here for 2 years, and we're going to enjoy every second.
You know, I feel I should have prepped a speech. Manchester, it's fair to say, has its name in world history thanks in part to music, a big part of this city, the artists that it's given birth to. We'd be here all night if I listed them, and that is part of the reason why Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham says he's been pushing for the Brits to come north for quite a while.
This is a music city to its fingertips. I fell in love with it in the 1980s, and I was spoilt by what we had going on then. But I've said to them for years, why don't you come, why don't you come? And they would say, well, finally, you've really put in place the infrastructure to allow us to come. So it's a big moment for the city.
Very sadly, I am going to have to give this back. They will notice if I try to take it out in my coat. You can find out who actually does get to go out of here with one on ITV1 and ITVX at the end of next month.
It suits you, Rob. Thanks so much. It's going to be our top story tomorrow. Real Award goes missing.
Well, first tonight. On to sport, and Liverpool boss Arne Slot says he's happy to have Mo Salah back in his squad. The Egyptian striker is expected to play in tonight's Champions League match in Marseille. He hasn't started a game for Liverpool since November and was dropped from the squad for last month's game at Inter Milan after claiming he had been thrown under the bus by Liverpool.
There's been one moment where I decided not to take him to the game. And for all the other games, he's been always in the squad, and I brought him in as the first substitution against Brighton. So at that moment of time, there's never been an issue for me. But at that moment of time, I think the outside world could see that there was no issue. And he's the first time he's able to be in the squad again, he is. And let's see for the lineup tomorrow if you still think there's an issue.
Meanwhile, Pep Guardiola says it feels like everything is going wrong after a huge shock for Manchester City last night.
The results in 2025 is not good. So, in terms of the Premier League, and yeah, everything is the feeling that is going wrong. It's going, against in many details, and that is a fact. And you have to try to change it. But the players are there, and we try.
Well, City's next opponents in the FA Cup will be Salford City, the League Two club owned by the group of former Manchester United players known as the Class of '92, beat Swindon 3-2 to book their trip to the Etihad Stadium in round 4.
It's the semi-finals of the Women's League Cup tonight, with the prospect of an all-Manchester final still on the cards. Super League leaders City are at home against reigning champions Chelsea, while United head to Arsenal, who've won this trophy more than any other club.
Now, to darts, and a special birthday present for Warrington's Luke Littler. Last night, he became champion at the inaugural Saudi Arabian Masters. He beat former world champion Michael van Gerwen 8-5 in the final, to claim the title ahead of turning 19 years old today.
Happy birthday to him. Well, let's take a look at what's coming up in the evening news at 6:30 with Mary.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News at 6:30, Trump takes a dig at Europe during his speech at the World Economic Forum, saying it's not moving in the right direction regarding immigration.
Certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable.
Harry versus the Daily Mail, with the Prince saying he couldn't complain about their intrusive articles at the time due to his involvement with the royal family. And the Brit Award nominees are announced, with the show held outside London for the first time ever. We'll do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
You hit it here first, didn't you?
Now, if you go down to the woods today, there's a very good chance you won't see any squirrels.
That is because the species is in real danger of extinction, even at special reserves like the one at Formby in Merseyside.
But the conservation team there have got a plan to help the little creatures survive and hopefully thrive. Our correspondent Victoria Grimes has more.
Back in the old days, red squirrels were a familiar sight all over the UK. These days, the woods here in Freshfield are one of just a handful of places you can still spot them. But even here, numbers are dwindling.
We do usually see a red squirrel or two around here, so if you have a look up in the trees, and actually, can you just see them?
Conservationist Molly is part of a 5-year project aiming to protect the red squirrels.
It's predicted that if any conservation efforts were to stop on red squirrels, that we would lose them within 10 years. So it's so important that we have people on the ground, volunteers that help us out with the work that we do.
Pete and Maureen have both been volunteering as squirrel spotters for more than 10 years. They help to monitor their movements.
You're listening for the little bits of the pine cone that they spit out.
And these are the pine cones that they spit out?
These are they. And you can actually tell by the way the pine cone's been eaten whether a squirrel's left or right-handed. If they're left-handed, they go anti-clockwise. It's like people eating corn on the cob.
Like corn on the cob?
People eating corn on the cob.
Yeah, because I with my left hand, and I suppose I would,
Anti-clockwise?
You'd probably eat a pine cone the same way, wouldn't you?
I'm not going to try one now.
Yeah, well, here we are.
Why is it so important that people like you keep volunteering, Mo?
They've nearly gone. They're literally hanging on by their toenails, and if we can keep them, we've got to do everything we can so that the next generations coming up will be able to see what I saw when I was a child.
So it's really important that we know where the red squirrels are. Even members of the public, if they can monitor from their garden or when they're on a dog walk or at the park with the kids, just letting us know when they see a squirrel is really important.
Victoria Grimes, ITV News, Formby.
Who would have guessed that squirrels could be left or right-handed? Who knew?
I think I'm straight down the middle. Time for the weather now. Here's Louise.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello there, good evening. We had a few showers through today. Over the next couple of days we will hold on to showery outbreaks of rain, occasionally turning heavy at times with some brisk blustery winds, but it will also feel quite mild as we head towards the start of the weekend. Low pressure continues to dominate our weather. We have a few systems pushing in from the Atlantic over the next couple of days, bringing quite a lot of low cloud at times as well, with some mist and fog developing in the overnight period. Tonight though, further outbreaks of rain will continue, slowly fizzling out as we move through the early hours, but we have some low cloud over the tops of the Pennines, touch of mist and fog in places, and then the showers start to build up again as we head towards the early hours tomorrow morning. Temperatures holding up at 7 or 8 degrees Celsius. A very mild night. Breezy though, especially across the Isle of Man once again into tomorrow morning. Further outbreaks of rain pushing through. Occasionally some heavier bursts there. We do have quite a lot of low cloud about tomorrow, so it's quite a dull, dismal day. Limited spells of brightness, if any at all. Temperatures reaching highs of 8 or 9 degrees Celsius. And once again remaining fairly blustery, especially across the Isle of Man. Looking ahead towards Friday, we have some mist and fog developing tomorrow evening that will linger through to Friday morning, so do take care if you're travelling early on. Further outbreaks of rain though will start to pep up and push through on Friday afternoon. Some heavier bursts there, quite a lot of cloud around once again, but temperatures in around average for this time of year. But they will start to trend down as we head through the second half of the weekend. Cooler conditions coming our way on Sunday, so wind switch direction coming from an easterly direction, so it will feel quite cool as we head into the start of next week with the odd wintry shower. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thanks, Louise.
We shall see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.